Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome back. Let's continue from our discussion empathy, and the next level of another important EQ skill is called social responsibility. We need to nurture this how to make a person socially responsible, and that will generate a lot of responsibility in the minds of the students, that he understands the rules and regulations before, so he will think thrice before violating any rules or norms of the society. So, EI sometimes or not sometimes always enhances our awareness that you are a responsible citizen of the country, you have to abide by the rules and regulations, and you have to take care of not only yourself, you need to take care of others. Then another characteristic is called interpersonal relationship. Interpersonal relationship. So, this is one of the important skills, social skills, socio-emotional skills you can say, that is very important for the survival of individual as well as others, because when you talk to others, when you interact with others, if it is not pleasant, it is not emotionally satisfying, people will instantly reject you, people will discard you, and that will reduce as a person your own values, and you will be an odd man out in the society. So, not only in education, even we have seen in education systems, those students who lack interpersonal skills are isolated by the mainstream of societies, and that is why we often say that try to interact more and more with others, so that you get along with others, you know people, you know your colleagues, and you will be able to develop better friendship, and that will help you to make a smooth transition during your education, and that is the value of interpersonal relationship in education. We are talking about these skills. In fact, these skills all are in the main domain of Barron model of emotional intelligence. This is mainly focused on 4 important domains: interpersonal, stress management, adaptability, and general mood. There are 5 important primary factors of Barron's EQ. So, 5 primary factors. These are called stress management, adaptability, and the 5th one is called general mood. So, and each dimension has several secondary factors. So, and this is the right model to be applicable in education setups. So, the self regard comes under interpersonal. The interpersonal scale has 5 important dimensions. One is called self regard, second is called emotional self awareness, assertiveness, independence, and self actualization. So, these are called 5 secondary factors, and the interpersonal skills are empathy, social responsibility, and interpersonal relationship. There are 3 secondary factors: empathy, social responsibility, and what do you call, third one is interpersonal relationship. The third primary factor has also stress management, stress tolerance and impulse control. Adaptability has three sub factors: reality testing RT, then flexibility FL and problem solving PS, and the general mood measures your optimism and happiness. We will be talking about happiness in details in the domain of how EI is related to health, happiness and prosperity. That is a different domain of discussions. But if these factors are nurtured in students, and students are likely to develop a very harmonious personality development that will make them to prosper and grow in their life, and they will be able to very smoothly to meet the different challenges of modern life that is coming out of the global stress. So, this is a framework taken from one of the research foundation. This is adapted from Canon emotional competence model and developed by the author is Kate Canon. So, he shows it is just like Barbara Fredrickson's broaden and build theory, just like how by developing different skills and competencies we enrich our domain of emotional intelligence. Self actualization creates development how we can better cope with, how we can better enhance our coping skills, and this self awareness leads to coping skills which is enhanced or which results in interpersonal skills such as empathy, social responsibility. How social skills and competencies in terms of interpersonal skills predicts our effective relationship, what we call interpersonal relationship and independence, and the overall outcome is called the personal and interpersonal effectiveness that we realize in terms of self actualization and happiness. So, that is why it is very much important to develop a framework of emotional intelligence based on Barron model of emotional intelligence, which is very effective in school education, particularly for the development of EI in student populations. And some of the recent findings that has been come out of research on emotional intelligence and academic achievements. Even many of my students who are doing master program in human resource management, they have also tried the relationship between emotional quotient and IQ factors and their academic success, and they have found that EQ has immensely predicted their academic success. People those who are high on their EQ scores have performed very well in academics, and this is a surprising findings that is coming up. So, this is an indication that there is urgent need that EQ needs to be nurtured, because it is the only skills that make students to be regular, to be sincere in the class, and this is the only need that they realize there is a brighter aspect of attending classes, and they realize the future goals, and they are able to develop a vision of their life. So, that is how the EQ has an impact on academic success of any students. So, higher education, higher achieving students demonstrated higher total EQ, interpersonal skills, stress tolerance, adaptability. Students who are anxious or depressed get lower grades, lower achievement scores also, and we have also found similar kind of findings in our studies also. Those people who are having low EQ factors have a large number of absenteeism, and the reason being they are afraid of coming to class, they are under stress, tension. When they prepare for exam, they suffer from a lot of academic anxiety. So, this is how the EQ has affected their academic life. But students who can delay gratification or earn better grades and have an average of 210 or more points on their SAT test are likely to show higher level of emotional intelligence. Students who respond to setbacks with hope and resilience versus anger and hopelessness achieve higher academic and social success. Even we have seen in learned optimism, emotional intelligence, people those who are having high level of emotional intelligence, their learned optimism is quite high. They are likely to be more optimistic than their counterparts. So, these are some of the findings that has labeled the student success due to EQ factors. Then how does EQ differ from IQ? These are some of the focus that one needs to emphasize in classroom situations. Developing an understanding of and an ability to manage emotions, while IQ emphasizes on developing one's cognitive abilities or more academic oriented. The second comparison may be, EQ can be enhanced throughout one's life. This is what I have been highlighting. Once IQ develops to a particular age limit, thereafter it does not grow much, but EQ can be enhanced any point of life. Recently understood to be an important predictor of one's potential for success. As we have seen in work context also, there are findings emerging that EQ predicts one's success in life, at work also, but IQ has been traditionally used to predict potential for one's success. EQ fosters understanding and management of one's emotion, while IQ allows development of need knowledge based. So, IQ factors are always knowledge oriented, while EQ always focus on management, effective management of one's emotions. EQ promotes positive relationship, while IQ enables development of technical skills and abilities. So, that is why we often say that IQ is not enough to get success in one's life. So, therefore, we need to nurture positive relationship to make our life more happy, healthy and prosperous. Then another comparison could be the EQ increases self motivation and drive. It creates will and zeal within a person to achieve more and more, while IQ enables conceptual thinking. So, particularly those people who are new to higher education, maybe the first year and second year students, this EQ is very important because they are away from their home environment, particularly in Indian settings. I would like to say that after passing out from their 12th class, they are entering into a new zone, new community, new environment. They are isolated completely from their parents and closed ones. They are likely to experience emotional turmoils. So, that is the right time to nurture or to inject emotional intelligence into their blood, so that they come up very assertively, very maturely for a new life that they are going to face after their education. These are certain questions one need to ask. What are the skills they need to develop? Can we identify the skills and teach them? Can we assess these skills? Yes, these three questions can be possible once we administer a emotional intelligence test, whether it is Barron's or it is Mayer-Salovich test. There are a lot of opportunity to teach and assess skills, like orientation groups. While orienting different students groups, we can also enhance this emotional skills among themselves. It can be enhanced during classroom situations by administering emotional intelligence test and giving them feedback in which areas they are lacking. Then academic advising, nominating a academic advisor who is a senior students or a TA teaching assistants who can guide them properly emotionally, students on academic probation, and at departmental level also training, emotional intelligence training could be held up so that assessment and intervention can go in a smooth way. Even at team level, institution level, service unit level, we can organize a number of wellness program like in between, in our institute at IIT Kharagpur, the students activity center, what we call Gymkhana, they conduct lot of meditation program, yoga program. So these are certain programs happens to be under the wellness program framework that is likely to create peace and tranquility within the minds of students, and so that they can control their anger, they can regulate their emotions, and so that they can focus on their study and do well in their academics. In addition, there are certain other common methods, one can develop limitless skills like common readings, films, watching films like the way we see Tare Zameen Par, where a student who is very emotionally very weak, unable to understand the simple algebra, but his potential is very creative, it's endless potential he possesses, which can be extracted through nonverbal forms. So a psychologist, when enters into the school, identifies his real potentialities and counsel his parents and teachers how the student is going to prosper in his life. So this is how we can enhance or cherish emotional intelligence in students. We can conduct various campus events, current events, clubs, sports organization. We can develop EI skills by, say for examples like code of conduct. By code of conduct, we can make our students socially responsible. These are certain code and conduct of the campus. You need to abide by this. Student conscience like drugs, alcohol, this kind of behavior can be minimized through conduct of different kind of awareness programs. These are the side effects of alcohol, drugs, and what is the outcome of dating, what should be the limit of it, how one can make friends, what is the how they choose a good friends, and how to enhance their time management skills. These are certain ways that we can enhance the emotional intelligence skills in students, and these are some of the opportunities to assess skills like student survey. Very simply, we can conduct a survey on EI and give them feedback, and we can identify certain focus group. These are the students group, they are weak in their emotional intelligence, and we can give them special treatment. We can concentrate on that group and try to give them different capsules of enhancing emotional intelligence. Then internship, one can undergo also certain internship like taking training on emotional intelligence, service learning evaluations, group projects, pre and post evaluations, videotape of performance. We can conduct certain activity that a person is doing, and we can project in the video form that yes, this is how you are performing your emotional intelligence. These are the gray areas you like to develop on these sides, right. So, and these are the some of the points to be considered. Multiple measures embedded, ongoing feedback, built-in self, peer and instructor assessments. So these are some of the ways that we can develop in our students. Emotional intelligence in a college transition course, assess in all that we do. Students will understand how emotional intelligence is connected to college success. So once we make a survey, compare EQ and IQ and also their academic achievements, give them feedback, they will understand, yes, my emotional intelligence is enhancing my academic success. So gradually they will focus on readings, writing and presentation skills. This will build up their overall personality that is vital for their future success. There are other methods, like Myers-Briggs type indicator can be map down and compare with parents' EQ profiles, and when you give a comparative assessment, that will give them an insight where needs to be developed within themselves. Well, EI can be, as we all discussed, there are projective techniques, there are objective techniques, subjective techniques. So, one needs to approach both quantitative and qualitative methods, like qualitative in terms of words, art forms, opinions, or you can simply ask them, can you write a letter of thanksgiving to your parents? And that is how we examine. Even I used to examine in my class when I asked, okay, can you express, can you write a letter of gratitude expressing to your parents? Wonderful experience I have seen, how positive they are, how indebted they are towards their parents, and parents feel so elated. It is by doing this, it is not that they are developing, they are also trying to enhance the EI profile of their parents, making them realize that yes, their kids are also realizing their contribution. There are direct measures like observing a student, scoring an essay, journal analysis, etc. Indirect measures may be satisfaction and self-perception survey, focus group, interview, face-to-face discussion, right. So, these are some of the studies have also shown that how EQ has enhanced first year students academic success in university, and the same thing we have also found in our IIT, and this shows the difference between the traditional and the enhanced EI profile. Well, some of the students' voice we have seen, these are some of the examples, like I looked back at my midterm and I wrote that I need to look at my impulse control. I do everything at the last minute. In fact, I was doing my midterm at the last minute, sorry. I also had a hard time saying no. My stress was up. I really thought about it and made some changes, like telling my roommate I did not want him to use my car. It was not easy, or not jumping at any chance to go out forgetting about homework. Well, I did it. I am not perfect, but my post EQ says my stress is down and it is my general mood is better too. I feel now better. So, this is how we have seen students developing on their emotional intelligence sides. So, another student's voice that was taken by one teaching assistant. This is a report. In the beginning of the semester, interpersonal was one of my lowest score. It includes empathy, social responsibility, interpersonal relations. A person with low interpersonal scores can be too blunt without realizing that it hurts someone. When I was first working with students, when we were failing first year students, I was kind of mean. It's really better to be gentle at first, then become formal later. They just need a chance. So, this is a statement that coming out of a teaching assistant, how he feels about the students. Initially, it is very difficult to control their behavior, but later on when you feel concerned about themselves, their perspective changes. Well, as we all know that there are various ways of making EQ assessment, students writing, interviews, students activity, or administering test scores. These are some of the comparative EI scores on areas of enrollment, effective functioning and enhanced functioning on EQ pre and post test assessments. These are some of the sample evaluations. Just I am showing that how important is EQ skills, and these are some of the steps that EQ skills can be developed. Ask group members to put their names on or outside the bullseye to represent their level of success in achieving the goals. So, this is how we can chalk out a plan of actions enhancing emotional intelligence, or developing a curriculum of EQ for enhancing one's emotional intelligence. See, initially your target was I will pass all my courses, then you are this much initially. When you grow up, and by the midterms on the final you have covered the whole domain of your Yeah. So, students' narrative may be helpful. You just ask, how do you feel? How do you express in awkward situations? That the narratives of students can be a right way of evaluation their current status, and accordingly you can give advice and counseling for their future improvements. Goal setting journals, midterm final reflective writings, works of reflections, movie analysis like the way we projected Thare Zameen Par. Likewise, many emotional movies can be projected and that can be analyzed, their content can be analyzed to create a platform for analysis of emotional intelligence. Ask people, do certain activities, give presentation and certain group work, by the help of which we can give, you can enhance their emotional intelligence skills. How will your e-portfolio be graded? These are some of the ways one can check out is this: completed all 7 steps, comments, then provide useful feedbacks. This is called the rubric to score group participation, where they have students' empathy, interpersonal skills and assertiveness has been mapped. Points, participation and communications. So, you can evaluate these skills on the basis of 0, 1, 2 and 3, where they stand, and then you can make evaluation, comparative analysis of different groups. And pre-test, post-test measures can also give an indication of their development of emotional intelligence. The final thoughts is that assessment should be based on curiosity. For example, what do students do based on our efforts? Is it making a differences? That is very important. We need to see, is there any change happening to them? The pre-test and post-test emotional intelligence, is there any change? What for this change? Why it has happened? Who are the change agents? The whole analysis can give an indication that there is a change of emotional intelligence in their behavior. There is nothing worth teaching that should not be assessed. So, this is what we learn from our teaching of emotional intelligence. In general, we often say that we do not realize the value of any teaching that could not be assessed, that could not be compared, that could not be conveyed to the participants. So, the real challenge lies in the assessment procedures. Then we can think that yes, the teaching of emotional intelligence is effective. So, these are some of the assignments we would like you to do, like say for examples, examine the importance of emotional intelligence in education. Like, what are the areas that emotional intelligence is going to create an impact? Is it just the academic success of an individual or a student, or is there any other areas that the EI is going to impact? Yes, there are many other areas in education systems, like sports and games. NSS programs, community development programs, societal activities, music and plays, any collective events, say for examples like Spring Fest in our institute, Khittis. So, these are some of the group events, how they are prospering. And yes, in leadership development programs, So, these are certain qualities and certain areas that where EI in action, you can say. This is EI in action. EI means emotional intelligence in actions. So, the moment you participate in different sports and games, it enhances your leadership skills, it enhances your collective skills, it enhances your participation skills, it enhances your interpersonal skills. You learn how to lead a team, you learn how to get along with others while playing in a team. So, the sports and games are very much important events that nurtures emotional intelligence. And by participating in this, the students develop their leadership programs. We have seen in NSS programs, when the students go for any kind of training camps, they display various skills and competencies that are reflected in their leadership and teamwork. How we can develop a positive community in our locality? This EI that can come out of the nurturing positive values and virtues in the students as a whole. So, this is in a nutshell that shows that EI is very important for our education. We need to make it a part and parcel of our curriculum. Thank you very much.